All right, guys, it's Copper Cutlass, and it's a Wednesday night, and I came out here and did some cylinder pressure testing, and it's not too bad. I know this motor was built loose, and I know I got some blow by. The next step is actually to do a leak down test. Um, our numbers are actually pretty close. I think there's less than 10% variance between all of them. So our dry number on cylinder 1, 3, 5, and 7, it goes 135, 130, 130, 135. Wet with 1 tablespoon of oil using our syringe, so we were pretty accurate. 145, 140, 140, 145. Now, if those numbers change significantly, there would be something off, but no. Cylinder number 2 is 135 dry, 145 wet. Now, cylinder number 4 is 130 dry, 140 wet. Cylinder number 6 is like 128, just shy of 130. It may have been the way I plugged it in there, but wet was dead at 140. Cylinder number 8, dry at 135, 145 wet. Now, the only concerning thing I saw, because I also went ahead and checked the valve lash, is that cylinder 1 lash on the intake changed from 20 to 30. And if you can see on my firewall, I marked it when I did it 120, or I did it 20 thou cold on 4/11/24, and today is 5/15/24, so I documented it. I still gotta get rid of the evac tubes, which might actually help us if we run them with the open headers, but at this point I'm not going to risk it because, again, I made the mistake of corking up the exhaust and I forgot to disconnect them, and I actually pushed oil out of the filler tube. So, we pressurize the crankcase versus, and this is actually fairly loose, so this is actually where most of the oil pushed out of, landed all over the intake, like I think I said in the other video, but that's what I did. We're thinking of hitting the track this weekend, and I'm going to make a pass, see what the car does. I am going to change the shift point a little bit. I'm going to, actually, for all intensive purposes, I'm going to run it, make one pass as is with the carb. It's supposed to be like 80 degrees on Saturday. If it's lean, it should run better in the heat, right? And then I think I'm going to bring my 750 with me. I did find some paperwork of the old jetting that I used to have with my 750. And on my 750, it was 8692, I want to say. Something along those lines because, like I said, I always ran quite a bit of jet with the 750 in the past, and that's what I had in there, and that's what it ran fine with forever. So I have that for reference. I'm going to run it as we put it together. I am going to probably tomorrow put it on, make sure I get that carburetor to idle and everything, and set it up and go from there. And then maybe if it's dry, there's a chance of rain tomorrow. If it's dry, I'll take it by the shop and actually test it in the parking lot and go from there. But, the car still runs good. We were running 1170s. One pass was 113, which is typical of the car. I think our fastest mile per hour is 115 in really, really, really good weather. So there's that. But our 60 foots are still kind of a little but again, I'm suspicious of the cylinder number 1 intake lobe. I did do an oil change today as well. I cleaned the engine diaper, and there was some shit in the oil along with in the pleats of the oil filter. But this oil has been in there since last August. So you guys go back and remember when the oil pump broke on this thing. I don't know if there was any shavings or anything that went through. It broke. I knew what it was. Took it out, changed the pan, changed the pump, changed the pickup, and then just ran it. So I don't know if that shrapnel on the magnetic plug that I saw that was kind of big was from that, or from maybe the cam lobe. I don't know. But there's a lot of crud in this oil. And this oil has been in there for quite a bit. So I did an oil change because I knew it needed an oil change. So what I'm going to do is I'm probably going to run the car. Hopefully everything is good. I'm going to kind of beat on it at work, make sure everything is good. And then if I have the opportunity to beat on it at work tomorrow. And then I think, go from there. We're going to take it to the track, and I'll probably just take the oil filter off. I'll cut it open. I'll check it and see what it looks like. And if it looks bad, then I don't know. I mean, the oil pressure is good. I'll put the video of the car idling at like 150, and the oil pressure is like rock steady at the oil pressure doesn't bounce until the engine's really hot, and even then it bounces around with the idle. It doesn't bounce like erratically all over the place like if something was bad. So I don't know. That's a new one. I always check valve lash, and the last time I checked it, we went out to the track like 3 times and never bothered checking valve lash. And I had some that were loose. It could be in the cup of the rocker arm itself. Maybe I shoved it up a little bit more, or maybe they're settling in. I think they're a pressed fit. It's a hardened cup in the rocker arm. I'm not very happy with these rocker arms from Howard's, to be honest with you. That very well could be it. But I'm going to run it again, and then I guess I could stick my bore scope down the push rod hole and area and see if I can see anything in there that would alarm me. But ultimately, I know to check it, I need to, it's a hole, take the intake off, see if I can pull the lifter off. I'm not ready for all that just yet. The car's still running fairly good. But the main thing is that our tune is lean. It is lean. We need to fix that and get the car to run the number like it used to. But if all else fails, we'll just go back to running the Pontiac, because you know what? Whatever. I'm done kind of chasing my tail. And if this cam does go flat, then it is what it is. It's an old cam. But I know for a fact that our tune is very, very lean. It's a little smoky in here because obviously I did the wet with oil and the wet test with oil, I should say. And but other than that, this thing runs pretty good. I'm hopeful that it's minor. I've never had valve lash move that much ever. So it is a little bit cause for concern. And I've never pulled the drain plug with that much shit in it. But again, some of that shit could be residual from when the oil pump took a crap on the last one, and I never took the motor entirely apart. I just swapped the pump and, stole the oil pan from the J-headed engine and the pickup, and I bought a new oil pump for this. And actually, I think I took the oil pump from that one. Actually, that's what it was. I took the oil pump from that engine, which that could have had some stuff going through it because, we did gouge a cylinder wall. So there's that. That could have came out of the oil pump itself. But oil pressure's still good. I mean, the oil filter is filtering. And we certainly have been beaten on this thing enough to where I think if something was off, I think we would know. But a leak down test is in order in my near future. The main thing is to take it out to the track. Now with these cylinder numbers, pressure numbers, roughly our compression based off of the cylinder pressure is average somewhere in the 9.7 to 1 area. So I think our rings are a little worn. Keep in mind, this engine's been around for a while, and we didn't replace rings. We didn't hone it. We just checked everything out, put it together with the freshened up heads with bigger valves, more port work, and all that stuff. And it kind of just ran, But the car always ran good. I mean, I took this engine apart and out after its fastest pass ever, and then we still managed to get more mile an hour out of it afterwards. So, like, obviously, it can't be too bad. But again, these are our numbers, and there isn't too much of a spread in between. I think like we're under 10% variance all across the board from our lowest to our highest. So, you know, there's 128 on that one, but that might have been, like I said, the way I had it in there, and then when I did it wet, it went to 140, which, like, okay, it did what it's supposed to do. Like, our wet test is 10 psi different than dry all across the board, so there's that. But either way, hope you guys enjoyed this one. Share, like, subscribe, follow me on Instagram as Copper Cutlass, and I'll let you go.